Get daily updates directly to your inbox plus subscribe. Thank you for subscribing. Could not subscribe? Try again later. Invalid email. In a season of spectacular finds at a Northumberland Roman fort, one discovery proved to be an absolute knockout for archaeologists. Excavations last summer on the site of a cavalry barracks at Vindolanda Fort produced two leather boxing gloves believed to be the only surviving Roman examples in the world. It was an amazing season for finds. But the boxing gloves are extra special, said Patrician Burley, former director of the Vindolanda Trust and now working on conservation and research at the site. The gloves will go on public display on Tuesday, mounted on a pair of articulated hands, along with other finds from the cavalry barrack excavations. Image. Newcastle Chronicle. Boxing is an ancient sport and it was practiced in the Roman army as a keep fit exercise and probably in combat contests between units, rather like the way the modern army still has its tournaments, said Patricia. Items like the gloves are a very personal link to the Romans at Vindolanda. You can still put your hands into the gloves and can see where the knuckles of the owner have molded into the leather. The gloves are not a pair, one being larger than the other. The larger one has been patched and repaired but has been kept probably because the owner valued it, said Patricia. Dr. Andrew Burley, chief executive and the Vindolanda Trust's director of excavations, said, I have seen representations of Roman boxing gloves depicted on bronze statues, paintings and sculptures, but to have the privilege of finding two real leather examples is exceptionally special. What really makes Vindolanda so unique is the range of organic objects that we find. Every one of them brings you closer to the people who lived here nearly 2,000 years ago, but the hairs stand up on the back of your neck when you realize that you have discovered something as astonishing as these boxing gloves. Conditions at Vindolanda mean that normally perishable objects like leather and wood survive. Around 20,000 leather items have been found at the site, including 8,000 shoes. Unlike the modern boxing glove, the ancient examples have the appearance of a protective guard, designed to fit snugly over the knuckles, protecting them from impact. The larger of the two gloves is cut from a single piece of leather and was folded into a pouch configuration, the extending leather at each side being slotted into one another, forming a complete oval shape, creating an inner hole into which a hand could easily be inserted. The glove was packed with natural material acting as a shock absorber. This larger glove has extreme wear on the contact edge and it had also undergone repair with a tear covered by a circular patch. The slightly smaller glove was uncovered in near-perfect condition with the same construction but filled with a tight coil of hard twisted leather. It is likely the gloves were for sparring as each has a stiffened contact edge, a softer representation of the metal inserts used in serious ancient boxing bouts, which Roman garrisons would have gambled on. The garrison at Vindolanda at this time around AD 120, just before the building of Hadrian's Wall, included the first cohort of Tungrians from modern-day Belgium and a detachment of Varduli cavalrymen from northern Spain. It is likely the base held more than 1,000 soldiers and probably many thousands more dependents living in an adjacent civilian settlement. Other finds from the season, which finished last September, included complete swords, copper alloy horse gear, around 60 pieces of writing tablets, leather shoes, bath clogs, combs, and dice. A conference to discuss the latest writing tablets will be held at Vindolanda next week. Also found during the barracks dig was a complete sword with a bent tip. Image. Newcastle Chronicle. A few weeks later, a second sword was discovered, this time without a wooden handle, pommel or scabbard, but with the blade and tang still complete and sitting on the floor where it had been left thousands of years before. Both blades came from separate rooms and are likely to have belonged to different people. One theory is that the garrison was forced to leave in a hurry, and in their haste they left not only the swords but other perfectly serviceable items. Also unearthed were copper alloy cavalry and horse fitments for saddles, junction straps and harnesses, which were almost completely free from corrosion. On Good Friday, Vindolanda will open its new museum extension, which will allow the display of the best of the wooden items found at the fort. The new digging season begins in the first week of April.